Howdy, listeners. As we all know, planet Earth has 7.5 billion people, and 7.4 billion of those people have small businesses. Now, to be fair, numbers that size can be hard to envision, and to be even fairer, most of what I just said is entirely made up. But I'll tell you what isn't made up. Keap. Keap is the all-in-one client management software designed specifically for small businesses. Keap takes the most annoying and laborious parts of running a small business and metaphorically tosses them into the sun. Stop grinding yourself to death with busy work and repetitive tasks. Let Keap integrate your customer follow-ups, messaging automation, next-level appointment setting, and so much more. Head over to Keap.com and start your free trial of Keap Grow, Keap Pro, or for those looking for something beefier, talk to one of our coaches about Infusionsoft, the product that started it all. More business, less work, that's Keap. Just go to Keap.com to start your free trial. That's Keap.com. One more time, that's Keap.com.
Hi, this is Crystal.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Small Biz Buzz presented by Keap.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Small Business Buzz podcast. My name is Rob Stevenson. I'm your host.
You did that all wrong. Are we starting over or do we keep going through his mistakes? Rob doesn't listen, and then he gets offended when he's like, Derek, why didn't you think of me? So let me go ahead and do what Derek actually asked you to do. I had a feeling I would have to do that. But hello, everyone. Today we have two great guests, Jenny Bio and Andrew Roberts, here to talk to you about keeping employees happy in the workplace, why it's important, what type of things keep them happy, and we hope that you enjoy the show.
That's fair. But I was going to get there. I mean, you just went right to the punch.
He clearly expressed to you that the intro's already done. He's using that intro. We just need to introduce our lovely guests here. I'll tell you what doesn't bring workplace happiness sometimes. It's Rob's inability to listen, and then he gets mad when he's like, why do they keep wanting Crystal to intro? Because you know what? I was paying attention.
In fairness, I was blinded by Jenny's Crocs. So once I got my eyes on those Crocs, it was like nothing else mattered.
Guys, Jenny's wearing Crocs, and I'm not one to embarrass people about their shoes.
Crocs.
I'll just say I would never put them on my feet, but they're a cheerful color of pink, right? They're cheerful. And they've got adornments, would we call them?
Yes.
Yes.
They have a real name, but I don't know what it is. But my Crocs are definitely conversation starters.
You named your Crocs. You named your shoes.
The little adornment attachments. They have an actual name. You named your
Croc bling.
Yeah.
And it's not Croc bling. Because that's a win right there.
Maybe
Croc
it's like
bling.
Possibly a Croc spoke, like on bikes, maybe.
Croc
embellishment, adornment.
I think adornment's
Is it like
appropriate.
a club? So if you see other people with Crocs and you're like, oh, I have more bling than you, or I have less bling than you.
I bet there is, but I'm not that into
All
Crocs.
that matters is you're on your feet a lot during the day around here. So do they keep you happy?
They keep me very happy.
You keep wearing them then.
I suggest everyone try some, Rob.
Nobody said the Crocs don't make people happy. I was simply commenting that you don't see them every day, especially bright pink Pepto-Bismol Croc blinged Crocs.
True.
On that note, why don't you guys share a little bit about why you're here today? Because we know you're experts. We see you every day, and you definitely keep a lot of people happy in this building. But why don't you share a little bit about your background and what you do for us here around Keap?
I'm Jenny Bayo, and I've been working for Keap for 6 years. Yes, I wear Crocs, usually on Fridays.
How long have you been a Croc aficionado?
Probably 7 years.
7 years. So shortly before you started here at Keap, you were like,
yeah.
Crocs.
It was on my resume.
Oh,
it was part of my interview
course.
process. Yeah, they wanted it.
And it's funny because your title is Master of First Impressions, which is fantastic. And if anything's going to master a first impression, it's going to be Pepto-Bismol Croc blinged Crocs.
Yes, they make a very strong, lasting impression.
And it's demonstrating here, it's very quickly become a conversation point.
We'll definitely post some pictures of these two lovelies because Rob is giving you a very bad impression. Jenny has it together maybe from the ankles to the head. So I don't want you to go ahead and judge her on the Crocs. She's got very stylish hair all the time.
There's
glasses that are adorable and always a cute outfit. So
Jenny
just
is
settle
adorable,
down. Can we get
but
to Andrew?
your implication that she has it together from her ankles to her head implies that ankles south
Let's go ahead.
Andrew, save us. Let's talk about employee engagement, how to make people happy, and what makes you happy on a daily basis.
Perfect. You know, what makes me happy is understanding why I go to work, mainly because that's really what I spend most of my day when I'm alert, is I'm here at work. And understanding that my core focus is the employees. That's kind of my audience, and that's who I put all my energy towards. So really what makes me happy is understanding that everybody has what they need to really kind of go towards their goals, as well as, you know, what are some of the fun elements? Like, I absolutely love to laugh. If you come to the front desk where Jenny and I both work, there's traditionally laughter there. So we're always here for a good time. And I feel like laughter really kind of helps sets off the day to just to know that, like, as you kind of go about your day with meetings and all your workload, that you can laugh and you can have a moment of just like being in a good mood and letting that kind of like transcend throughout your hours at work.
That's really cool. I mean, so much of happiness and all of those details comes down to energy. And if I had one word to describe you, it would be energy. Andrew is the Keap hype man. He literally is bouncing off the walls. He bounces off the walls with this exuberance, and it just is infectious, and it just is, you know, a barometer of happy inside the organization.
I like that you said infectious, because happiness and that energy is so contagious. And I think that's the reason why Jenny and I are both in this role of being masters of first impressions, is because we really feed off of each other. And I would say out of the whole entire company, we probably affect more, we have more touch points with a wide variety of keepers here. So it's like, agree. Yeah, so we have the ability to just kind of like bounce our energy off of them, and we kind of feed off of that as well, right?
Yes. The role itself of Master of First Impression, I mean, first and foremost, it's to greet guests. But what I appreciate about my role is that it is very much a focus on the employees and taking care of them. And I joke that Andrew and I are the room moms to 400 kids. And he keeps reminding me that's a working title, but I do. Because when you think of schools, and so often the arts are the first thing that gets cut when they're trying to tidy up and buckle down. And when you think of a workplace, a lot of times the little things are what often get overlooked, or like, we don't have time to do that. But it's greatly encouraged in our role. And I think it has a huge influence on the way people feel. We are able to remember the little things. And something that's naturally happened in our role is kind of the salon effect. A lot of people will come take a break from their desk and come chat with us just to, to vent, to get a laugh, a piece of chocolate. But it's a great, as Andrew said, we have great connections with keepers all throughout the building, and it creates a stronger bond in the building. It's the people that I love to come see every day, and it's for those little things that have a great effect on keeping employees happy.
I mean, that impact can't be understated. Crystal and I were doing some research on employee happiness, and one of the things that we read is that happy employees are 20% more productive than non-happy employees. And it feels like such a low bar. Like, are you happy at work? Are you happy? Are you a happy person? But that's not something you can interview for. No one writes on their resume, I'm a happy person, I'm a happy employee. So you need to have these mechanisms in place. So what are the things, what are some of the things that you guys have seen, or that you've done, or that people have inspired, or where does this energy come from?
Ooh, I see this a lot in Jenny, and it allows me to kind of like reciprocate that same energy, but really taking, like, I think the big word here is care. When people feel cared about, when you talk about the little things, and Jenny mentioned that, those little things, when they are sparked by caring about somebody, we're able to do things. For instance, there was a keeper here, and I'm going to not say their name, but, they had been out of remission for cancer, and Jenny had come, she knew that. It had been like, I think, a couple of years. So she drafted up. Jenny is our resident artist. She's fantastic. So she, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, she needs to just like illustrate my body, just make me look really skinny. But she was able to draw up a card to celebrate this moment for this keeper, and she had noticed it from their posts on Facebook. So, the fact that we've been able to establish this relationship with individuals, that they let us into their lives, it allows us to really kind of like focus on care. And I think that will in turn, it's like a domino effect, and then boom, happiness prevails.
Yeah. Although you guys are definitely masters at first impression, just side note, I had a friend visit the office last week, Thursday, and before I could get up to the front to grab her, she had already texted me and said, the gentleman at the front desk is reason enough to work here. And it was like within the 5 minutes of me walking to the front. So what you guys do at that front desk is super important, but you guys do a lot of other things around the office to keep us all happy. And there's some dark moments. We had no caffeine in here for about a week. And I'll tell you, I was trying to protect Andrew. It got rowdy quick. So I think there's like a level of expectation once you get happy where you almost kind of start forgetting what you may have had before or where you came from, or that these things are benefits and treats, you know? How do you guys handle through times that get dark, like no caffeine or things like that? How do you handle keeping people happy and keeping focused on the positive?
I think that's a really tricky time. Mm-hmm. We all love the cool things, especially about our workplace here at Keap. We have the wonderful cereal bar and the freestyle Coke machine and ping pong table. There have been dark times where something's simply broken down, or there's just a big shift and something might be going away, and there's a lull before something new comes in, and it does affect people. It's tricky to navigate that. I think one of the biggest things to remember, at least for me, because it can eventually affect my attitude too. And I know that when Andrew and I are down or negative, it does affect everyone else too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to.
It's rare, but it's felt like you guys do a good job of managing that.
So
or hiding it, crying into your pillow, whatever you guys do.
Sometimes the word entitlement is thrown around, and it's not so much to debate whether employees are entitled or not entitled. I think it's to take a moment and remember the gratitude of that Keap is a really unique place to work. And especially after our company meeting that we just had, it takes sometimes just a little lens shift when you believe in what we're doing for small business.
Definitely.
And that is, we're going back to the bigger picture, I guess, is what it is in a nutshell. Of yes, it's fun when there's candy at the front desk and drawings on the whiteboard, and it does. Those are embellishments, just like my Crocs, that make it a little razzle dazzle. Mm-hmm. But I think in dark times we go back.
Talk with Jenny and Andrew. I want to build on that point. You mentioned something very interesting to me about employee entitlement, or that sense of entitlement. Part of building a workforce that is dynamic and productive means taking care of them financially, means taking care of them holistically from a benefit or a health care or whatever perspective. But it also is keeping ahead of trends, of things that you've heard in other companies do that make an employee happy, or something that is relevant to an employee's individual experience, like your story about the remission card. What are some of the things that you've seen in the world that are your go-tos for making people happy or keeping employees happy?
You can take that one, Andrew.
Oh, I'd love to. I have noticed that you can have some of the fanciest items, like you can have some of the coolest quiet stations and work pods, but when you don't have an atmosphere that cultivates, creativity, network, like that organic ability to just like, I see somebody who is maybe sitting by themselves eating lunch, and I'm going to go there and join them. I think even with the times, it still goes back to those, like the foundation of like, am I happy where I'm at? Mm-hmm. Like you could have this like huge cafeteria where, you subsidize all of the lunch, and you're like, oh sweet, I only pay $3 to have, an Angus steak burger and French fries and a soda and whatnot. But when you come to a point where you have that, where are you eating that?
Yeah.
How excited are you to, get that nourishment and then go back to work? So like here at the office, we kind of like remember those things, and it's, investing in our people and knowing. I was reading like some of the things that helps people stay happy in the workplace. And the thing that was said was take an interest in who your employees are, mm-hmm. and knowing that they are heard and that they are valued. And I think if we go back to that, bring on all the new trends and we'll get there.
So, welcome to another episode of Worst Business Ideas in History. I'm Derek Harju.
I am Ducey Van Dusen.
And today we're going to be talking about WOW chips, or Olestra chips, as some people might know them.
Wow.
Yeah. I still remember the logo. It's a big WOW. It was very prestigious. So for those who don't know, Wow or Olestra chips were a product that were put out in the late 90s. I ate this product. I enjoyed this product for a period. And then I really didn't enjoy this product for a period to follow.
What changed?
Yeah. What changed? The contents of my stomach changed. So
that's
so Olestra chips. Olestra was this product that was put out by, and it was basically a fat substitute. It was 0 fat, half the calories, but it tasted exactly like vegetable oil or whatever you would use to produce chips.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it tasted. Let me say this: the product tasted delicious.
Yeah,
absolutely delicious. I ate more of this product than I should have.
Yeah, I think it kind of passed me by.
Yeah,
which is why you're the one talking about these things.
Well, I consume a lot of dumb cultural problems. I will always back the wrong horse. I had a Sega CD when I should have brought a Super Nintendo. Anyway, so I lived in Kokomo, Indiana when this product came out. And a lot of people haven't had this product because it got taken off of store shelves, but I got to get it early because we were a test case. Because what a lot of people don't know is that in the Midwest and parts of just middle America in general, companies will test their products to just basically do get a swatch of middle America and then avoid like the big PR scandals that might come out if the product doesn't go well that they would get on.
Because it's kind of isolated, not as many news organizations that are recognized across the country, that kind of thing.
Right. Like you don't want to do this in Manhattan. You don't want to do this in LA.
Okay.
So they tested it where we lived. They tested lots of stuff. This was the place where they would test things like the KFC Double Down or any of Taco Bell's like cultural abominations. I am convinced Taco Bell's going to create a biological weapon accidentally one day.
They're going to win the fast food wars, right?
Yes, that's true. Anybody who's watched Demolition Man knows you could do worse.
Yeah.
You could do worse. So they tested them out there. They even put them in our schools in the vending machines for real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I tried them, and as a chubby kid at that age, loved them. I was like, I can eat as many of these as I want.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, then a week passes, and things are not fine. So,
speaking of passing.
Yeah. So what happened was Olestra, it was discovered the molecules that make up Olestra are too large to actually be digested by the human body. And so they go in and then they come right back out.
Okay.
Causing what was politely deemed rectal discharge. These are their words. Rectal discharge.
Wow.
Stomach cramping and loose stool, which is just explosive poops all over the place. There's no other way. There's no way to get around it.
So how did they get to this point? Like, don't they have to test and make sure that this new chemical is healthy before it goes out to mass market?
Oh yeah, this passed the FDA. It passed the FDA. The company did what they were technically supposed to do. The problem is that when they tested it in small focus groups. And when you test small focus groups like this, you're not going to give each of them a big, like, family value size bag of chips and just watch them go ham on it.
What a great scene. I want you to eat this entire bag of chips, please.
I'm going to sit here and watch you until it is empty.
Taking notes.
Yeah. They're going to give them little bowls.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, these are delicious. And they were. I want to be clear, the product was delicious. But what an actual person is going to do is they're going to buy a full-size bag of this thing and they're going to burn through it.
Yeah.
They're going to watch Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and they're going to finish that bag. Well, when you do that, the body says, oh, this is too much of this bizarre product for me. Let's get this out of here. I personally succumbed to this product during a cross-country flight in which I was forced to spend 40 minutes in an airplane, not an airport, an airplane bathroom.
That's the flight attendant's worst nightmare. Olestra, who knew?
Well, they were not happy with me. Nobody was happy with me. The product initially did really well. $350 million in its initial month of release. That's
great.
Lay's must have seen they're like, this is amazing. Let's put it out everywhere. Yeah. And so they did. Well, immediately following, so did the bad press. And precipitously, a month later, the product revenue was cut in half and then half again until like the PR storm was too much to ignore. And they ended up first taking it off the shelves entirely and then rebranding it as light. And then eventually the product has mostly disappeared from public view.
Yeah. Well, you say mostly.
Mostly.
You can still get it?
You can still get products with Olestra in it. Now, they're hard to find.
Okay.
The Olestra is buried in a list of ingredients, but the FDA never pulled this off the shelves. All they did was they forced Lay's to put a warning label on it, and eventually just the mechanics of the economy and people not buying the product and the bad PR forced them to self-police and just take it off entirely.
Yeah.
So this begs the question: what can small businesses learn from this?
That's what I want to do. I'll put myself in the shoes of a small business owner and say, what's the takeaway from this lesson? And I think one of the first things is product testing. If you've got a product, if you've got something that you're making and that you're selling, it's easy for you to look at it and go, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want, and it's great for me. But spending the time with a wider group of people that you think might represent who your target audience is, of really letting them spend some time with it and not rushing it to market.
Yeah, because this stinks of something that was like, they tested it, people said, this is great, and they couldn't get it on the shelves fast enough.
Yeah. Now, what about what about, small business owners that have some sort of service as opposed to doing a product? If they're listening and saying, well, I don't really develop products, how does this apply to me?
Well, even if you're providing a service, you have to think long and hard about how is that customer going to engage with your service a month later or 6 months later? Not that long ago, I had my entire house torn up and all the pipes under my home replaced. Now, right now, that plumber is my hero. But in 6 weeks, if that plumbing starts leaking again, he is an enemy. So you have to think, just because you get the customer's money and just because they're happy when you first hand them the product or the service, you got to think about what they're going to feel about you 6 months, a year, 2 years later.
Absolutely. Hopefully they don't feel like everybody who ate Olestra feels like.
So to all of you out there, thank you for tuning in. This has been Worst Business Ideas in History. I'm Derek Harju.
I'm Ducey Van Dusen.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Keeping ever-expanding client info straight, sending the same emails hundreds of times, scheduling and rescheduling appointments over and over. Who enjoys this nonsense? No one, except my cousin Brent, and Brent is the absolute worst. Keap is the premier all-in-one CRM. Just head over to keap.com, that's Keap.com, and start your free trial today. Get the busy work out of the way so you can focus on what's important and make your small business grow with Keap. Start your free trial at Keap.com. That's Keap.com. More business, less work. That's Keap.
You guys are on social cheering everyone on. I see it all the time. It's really appreciated. And I think for me, the things that keep me happy around here, I would strip all the fancy stuff, the cereal bar, the soda. I mean, don't tell people. I've had people warn me that if I mention the cereal bar, getting rid of it again, they'll tackle me. But I think I would get rid of all of that to keep the people we have in the building anytime.
Very much
because
so.
The fact is the team building we do around here, that's really important to me. You want to come to a place you actually like the people you're working with. I feel like we have experts in-house I'm lucky to work with every day that have helped me grow. But also, I think we've had just fun people. They're really cool. I love the tailgates, getting to know the other employees better. I like being part of subcommittees or cross-functional teams where you get to know kind of everyone's expertise. I love seeing you dance, Andrew, on social media so that I can, you get a feel into other people's lives. And I think you guys do that really well.
In fairness, I pulled my back just watching Andrew's dance moves on Instagram. So
if you really want to know, I actually pulled my back dancing in those videos.
It was good. You did a good job. But I mean, we're lucky here too, because aside from some of the stuff that maybe smaller businesses may not have, like unlimited caffeine most of the time, unless something's broken, we just got done with a weight loss challenge, which I think is really fun during the holiday season, helping you just do what you should be doing anyway, like either staying on track or losing weight at a time people gain. And I just weighed in, lost 4 pounds, but it's something I might not have been conscious to during the holiday had we not had like everyone rallied around it and a team of people that were weighing in, that were kind of holding each other accountable. So we do lots of things like that. The unlimited vacation for me is huge too.
Whoa. Let's go back to that. I like the employee weight loss. I think that's a fantastic example. But I wonder, if we're being honest with ourselves, how many people came out of that room happy?
I did.
mean, holidays are extremely hard time to try and lose weight.
Shout out to Paige Clark.
Okay, so that's good. I'm just glad. So that's fantastic.
That's a lot better than
Ducey's
me.
waving. Ducey did a good job too. Okay, that's fantastic. I just wonder, from a happiness perspective, how many people really fulfilled all of their goals over the.
But even if you don't, you still have a team, and if I had come out of it, trust me, that based on the scale at home, I was concerned. I wasn't sure I was going to come out happy or just even, but I'm just saying, like having a team of people rallying around staying healthy, that just helps you keep your goals up and keep it forefront when your mom's bringing like 5 dozen Christmas cookies from Albuquerque to your house and then conveniently leaves them there. It's like just helpful to remember these things.
Albuquerque Christmas Cookies was actually the name of my Christmas band when I was in 6th grade. So let's talk about small businesses for a second. It is so personal. You're working so hard day in, day out, especially if you're a solopreneur. You live and breathe and eat your success or your goals as you try to build that success. What are some really easy, basic things that we can recommend to some of our small businesses to focus on from a happiness perspective?
When you said small business, and I think of small businesses, a lot of my family have been small business owners, and when I hear our customer stories, Andrew and I have we greet our new hires, and we have a segment where we spend some time with them going over our purpose and our values and our mission. There's a segment in there that has a really brief timeline of how Infusionsoft came to be, which is now Keap. And there's a segment, it officially started in 2001, and there's a segment in there, it was the first year that our founders took home a livable paycheck. So that's a lot of years that they worked their butts off and didn't always see the reward. And I always try to point that out because it's a reminder that our founders were in the same boat that small business owners are now. And one thing that Scott mentioned was that as we go through things, we have to remember to have fun. And that's a very, the ping pong table is highly used here.
Yeah.
And especially our accounting guys, they use it a lot, and they're very heads down working hard, but then they remember to have a fun break. And the fun break is very subjective. You can go outside, simply take a walk, but remembering to counter the hard work with some fun and whatever kind of levity you groove on, like wearing Crocs or anything like that.
It's funny you talk about the ping pong table because I played a lot as a kid, and I'm pretty good, and I can probably beat most of my friends if I said, hey, let's play ping pong. But then you come here and you watch the caliber of the people who are playing ping pong.
It's fierce.
It's Forrest Gump quality. It is bananas how good people are at ping pong. And they're breathing heavy, and the balls are getting smashed over into different aisles and all across the field. And it's like, well, I'm just going to go sit back down on my desk because I thought I'd come for a fun game. But at this point.
Yeah, they play table tennis. I play ping pong.
I've never been good at ping pong, but you know what brings me joy? Well, before I was really like working hard on counting my calories, was opening up the side pantry that for probably at least a year of being here, I didn't realize that was our area to open, and seeing cherry Pop-Tarts.
We have
there's
a side
usually
pantry?
one box out of 25. That's the cherry one. And when there's a cherry Pop-Tart, I'm like, I'm living good.
Where is this
like
side pantry?
You know where it is, where the peanut butter jelly is.
We have peanut butter and jelly? No, I'm happy. What the? I did not.
Tell them, Rob.
There's this, okay, so we have a kitchen here. It's microwaves. It's the
If
cereal
you're facing
bar.
the microwaves, it's the one on the left. It used to be the one on the right. Then
We
they
can
moved
go
it. I thought
in
they were
there?
gone.
Oh.
I always thought that was Andrew and Jenny's territory. I respectful. I don't go in other people's kitchen and start tearing stuff out. But I kept seeing other people go in there and come out with stuff. I'm like, what's in there? Finally, I looked. But the cherry Pop-Tart, I don't know how we decide what numbers of what boxes to get. But when there's a cherry Pop-Tart, there's one time, I'm not going to lie, when I was on a downward spiral that I tried to hide it behind all the other ones because I was like, in case I want one later in the week. I'm not like, mean enough to go hide an extra one in my drawer because I'm like, it's first come, first serve, but I'm going to make it harder for them to come at all to this box. And I came back, it was already gone.
Are you a Pop-Tart hoarder?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I only believe in taking when you're going to eat it because it's a communal area. However, those cherry ones are hard to come from. So I did get a little petty and hide it. I hid it behind like 5 other flavors to get like tricky. No, they were on to me.
We need
gone.
A Nicolas Cage, Dan Brown, Angels and Demons map to find the hidden cherry Pop-Tarts. They didn't need any map.
They were gone 2 days later. I went over and I'm like, oh, I bet they didn't find it. No, they were gone. But anyway, we do get a little spoiled here. A question I had was, how do you guys feel about, there was a software engineer company that actually made a title for someone as the Jolly Good Fellow, and his entire job was to go around the company and make people happy. And then we were reading further, over 1,000 chief happiness roles across LinkedIn right now. How do you guys feel about that being an entire role?
I mean, if you think that we've come to a point in life where as society has shifted and like the workload has shifted and how people are spending their time away from their families to really support their family, and that somebody saw a need to be able to have somebody there to be like the extreme ambassador for a business, to be able to focus on people's energy levels and being able to feel invested in, that just goes to show how important the work that we're so fortunate to be a part of. To be able to greet people by name. The fact that I feel like Jenny and I, we probably can pull everybody up in one solid line and just tell everybody like a name, their first and last name.
We could.
A first name, second name would be, and last name would be tricky, but first name, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like I probably
that's 400 employed. Let's be clear. That is an accomplishment. That is something to be. Wow, that's amazing.
And when you say that, it's amazing. When we think about it, it's really not hard because we come from the lens that when you come in this door, you are joining a team that is so focused on small business success, and that all the hard work that they do is going to go back to their families. All you're doing is you're just joining the wagon. So when we invest and you just think that, hey, we're welcoming you, you're a long lost family member, and you kind of take that lens, it's so easy to know who they are. And so to your point, it is so fantastic that there are roles that are coming out right now to really invest in our people and say, hey, guess what? Your happiness matters, because we understand the results of happiness. And in order for us to grow, we need you to be a part of this. We need you to be an ambassador.
Yeah.
And happy ambassadors just make the world go round.
I love that.
I'm like, I don't know, divided a bit by this topic, because when I read that, I thought, well, that's silly. And then I think of like people like you, and definitely I think you two both are able to do that role, but I think it'd be very hard to find other people that can do it the way you guys do. And then I question myself, do you guys think it's also any responsibility of the employee themselves to have a certain level of happiness? Because I will say, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people I've seen around the building that they do have a sense of entitlement. I'm not going to ask you to call anyone out, but they have entitlement, or they feel like they're owed certain things. And I've had a lot worse. So I'm grateful. I love what we have here. I love having people like you. And I am one of the ones that takes breaks, as you guys know, to just step away and get to some happiness. And I will chat with you guys for like 15, 20 minutes sometimes just to get my head out of where I was. But I think there is a certain level of responsibility to keep yourself happy at work. So how do you guys feel about that?
I would definitely agree with that. And that can be debated until we're blue in the face. And I speak only for my own personal development of my own life, of when I expected my parents to keep me happy when I was younger, and then my boyfriend to keep me happy, and so on. And as it goes, and I finally reached an age where I realized that I'm responsible for my own happiness. That, for me, that was a huge shift, and left for a lot more gratitude than expecting everyone to keep me happy.
So, Andrew, do you too think there's a bit of responsibility there for employees to keep themselves happy to a degree as well?
Yes, I think when we realize what makes us happy and understand this really brings me joy, and all of these other are just elements that are like seasonal. For instance, I may like ping pong now, but in 10 years, it's going to mean nothing to me. Yeah. So like really understanding really what provides that like lasting joy. What is that? And how does that move me? And, maybe having free lunch every single day, although it's beautiful, it's a cute little perk. it doesn't necessarily bring me joy. I can still do the work that I'm called to do, and I can do it with my flavor without having that. So just really,
I love that.
Just
I love
voicing that.
Yeah, putting your own flavor on it. Okay, I want to do a bit of a thought exercise here for everyone. We work at Keap. It's a great company. We are focused very specifically on small business success, but we are very lucky that there are some really cool perks and privileges that we get to take advantage of. So let's go around the table. Let's talk, and this is a two-part question. So the first part, what's your favorite perk at Keap, Andrew?
Surprisingly enough, and this may sound kind of cheesy and like, oh, of course he would say that, but having the ability to have an application here, like the piece of the software that we can use outside of work, is so key. Coming from the entertainment background that I came from, and then learning the software and understanding its capabilities, and the fact that I have that for the rest of my life, I get to use that. I send out email blasts to my family members. It's kind of cool, even though I don't own a business, but it's kind of fun to know that I can do that. So
yeah, your own edition of the Keap software.
Yes.
That's very cool.
So I love that for sure. And let me see here. Oh gosh, a perk. Once again, I feel like this sounds like the world peace answer, but a perk that I think is really fun is knowing that we have the tailgate, which is every quarter we have the ability to, shut the business down and network and have fun with each other. But really, it gives us an opportunity for Jenny and I to really kind of do what we're called to do, but have so much fun with people. So I like those two things.
Okay. How about you, Jenny? What's something that you like to take advantage of?
My favorite perk is Win for Time. I think that's a huge advantage.
Explain that for people.
Win for Time, the way I understand it, might not be the exact industry definition, is that you can take off as much time as you need so long as it aligns well with what's going on in the company, your team, and I don't take advantage of it because I love my job so much, and that sounds really cheesy, but I think it's a huge advantage, and I've seen it come into effect in especially positive ways when somebody's sick, when they have a family emergency. It's not I had someone pass away, but I have to be back to work tomorrow. It's I think it's the care side of Win for Time that I love. I think it's a great perk. The one perk that I took advantage of negatively was the free candy, which is now why
that's not negative. The free candy is fantastic.
I ate too much of it, but
there's no such thing as too much candy.
I think the perk that I love as a keeper has to do with communication. The fact that if I have something really burning, I can share it with my leader, and I can even go as high as slacking one of our executives and share my thoughts. That's a perk that's not so much sold in the interview process, but the fact that we have that type of environment here where I can communicate from my heart to my leader and even to an executive, and Andrew and I even shared something with our Chief People Officer, that we can even just step directly to them and share our thoughts. I try to take advantage of that as much as I can.
How about you, Crystal? And if it's not cherry Pop-Tarts, then everything is a lie.
It's not cherry Pop-Tarts because also I'm off that bandwagon. The downward spiral has stopped. But if I had...
The downward spiral of cherry Pop-Tarts has stopped?
It has.
You heard it here first.
Yes. So if there's so many, you're asking the person that just cried happy tears.
I asked for one.
No, I'm not giving you just one, but I cried happy tears in my review yesterday because really the thing that I'm most grateful for since I've been here has been like the growth I've had in 2 years. It's going to get me all emotional just thinking about it again. But I mean, I'm with a leader that really supports me and wants me to do my best all the time. And through the growth I've had here and her trust in me to do those things, I've actually grown personally too. Like I feel more confident in my own skin standing here. So, I mean, that's something that didn't cost anything, just a great leader. Shout out to Laura Collins. But like a great leader, power to grow, trust to do that, those are worth more than anything else I could get. But if you want to talk about the other things I'm addicted to, the caffeine, that is something. I don't expect it when it's broken. I don't get down on the dumps or want to hunt Andrew down or Jenny. But basically, those are the things that I probably take advantage of the most, growth and soda.
So I think, first of all, I didn't know we had cherry Pop-Tarts. So my answer is fluid. I didn't know we had peanut butter and jelly. So
And
I reserve that. I didn't know we had a secret magic cabinet at the left of the kitchen. So
you're respectful like I am. I like
there will
that.
be exploration later. I think, and it's something, to be very light here, it's something that Jenny referenced earlier. We have a freestyle Coke machine in the kitchen, and it allows you to make, it's
so many combinations.
Like 150 different kinds of soda. And I don't even like soda that much, but I can go if I want and get a glass of ginger lemon Diet Coke. And that's my go-to because it's the hardest to find. You literally have to hit like 4 buttons to get there. And Andrew just made the face. I got some today and someone looked at it. I'm like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I can. Because it's there.
Yeah.
I feel like I gave you the look that you gave Jenny's Crocs. Of just like disapproval.
And everyone knows that look. Okay.
Disdain.
I did promise a 2-part question. If you could have any perk, if anything in the world, very quickly, what perk would you want?
If I could make it up, I would ask that every family, so every employee, would have one solid week that they would spend with their family.
Love it.
It would just literally be, I need you to disconnect. I need you to remember, well, I feel like I'm forcing this on, but I feel like people work for their family, whether it just be them and their spouse or them and their fur baby or them and their, their parents. I would think it would be so cool to just be like, whether you're working at home or you guys go on a little vacation, spend time with your family. That's kind of like a instant why you work as hard as you do, I guess.
How about you, Jenny?
Well, after that answer, anything I say is going to sound
sound petty.
Sound very petty. If I could create a work site perk, mine's a little biased because I love art, and I believe that everyone has an innate ability to create. Mine would be to have a room that's pretty much might look like a kindergarten classroom, but it's full of art supplies, anything that you could use goes back to taking breaks. Art is a great way to let the brain rest and have fun or actually even refocus. So it would be a big giant art room where people could come play.
Okay, Rob, what's yours?
Full disclosure, I color at a kindergarten level, so I would fit right in.
So that's perfect. It's excellent for you. Coloring, lots of coloring.
My perk is very simple. I go up and down the stairs to the support team, to the product team, down to the marketing team. I would get a slide. We would love, I think, a slide with a big crash pad at the bottom. Be a fantastic addition.
That would be great.
Okay, for me, it's going to sound super cheesy, but I actually am very fulfilled and I'm happy. So that just brings us to the end of this where we can all agree that happiness in the workplace is very important. There's lots of ways to get there. So if you're out there and you've got a small business, there's lots of things that don't cost anything to keep people happy. And I think putting focus there, whether it's in a role or in any kind of effort, is going to be worth your time and consider it an investment because you'll get a return on it. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, and stay happy.
Thanks. We will with your guys' help.
Thanks for listening to Small Biz Buzz. Please take a second to subscribe to the show and leave a 5-star rating. It helps keep the show going. And if you need a hand with growing your small business, head over to Keap.com. That's Keap.com and get started. More business, less work. That's Keap.